Hey everybody, it's time for another channel update. But before we get into that, I wanted to mention that the footage for this particular update is from the recently released Combined Arms mode for Battlefield 5. I've been playing this over the past couple of weeks with some friends, and while I wouldn't say that this 1 to 4 player co-op friendly objective-oriented mode versus bots is worth picking up the game in and of itself, I do find it to be quite enjoyable and a nice addition to the overall Battlefield 5 package. It would have been really nice if this mode had been included with the game at launch, as I think it would have been a really excellent tool to help new players gain familiarity with the game and get comfortable with it to better prepare themselves for competitive multiplayer. But I'm just kind of looking at it as a better late than never situation overall, and definitely looking forward to see how it might be expanded and enhanced throughout the course of the game's lifespan. Having said all that, there's one thing in particular I wanted to talk about in this update, and that's, as promised, a little bit of a rethink regarding my future plans for the channel based on what happened with my Anthem review, or non-review, or mini-review, or whatever you want to call it. And after sitting around and thinking about it for a bit, I think the main takeaway and the main thing that really occurred to me was the realization that I actually kind of got myself into a bit of trouble by saying in advance that I was planning to review the game. I think had I never made that announcement in a previous video, I wouldn't have felt compelled to try to force out content for the game and, for lack of a better term, try to fit a square peg in a round hole in terms of tackling a big AAA beefy title such as that in the context of a full-blown game review, given my current limitations in terms of my free time and availability to work on stuff for the channel. With that in mind, I think one of the things I'm going to do moving forward is to refrain from making any sort of announcements about what sort of content is coming in advance of its release. I had started doing that a while back, largely in the hope of trying to attract more viewers to the channel and encourage more people to subscribe, hoping that mentioning the things I was planning to do in the future would encourage that sort of behavior. But looking back on it in retrospect, I don't really feel as though that's made a big difference in terms of my subscriber numbers and long-term engagement for the channel. And in particular, in the case of Anthem, I feel like it really painted me into a corner and kind of forced me into doing content in a way that I wasn't particularly happy with. At least not until I found the time to come back and do a second video on the subject. The good news is, after rethinking all of this stuff and giving it some more consideration, I do think that it is going to be possible for me to continue to put out content sporadically throughout the rest of this year. Not exactly sure what form that content is going to take, or how much of it will be video game related. But I can say that as I'm working on this particular video that you're watching now, I am simultaneously working on another gaming related video that should be released fairly soon, that I think long-term fans of the channel and the more obscure games that I often cover will really enjoy. With that said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Hopefully you folks have enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you'd like to see more videos from me in the future, be sure to hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.
Almost there. You'll be home and free if you can keep them off for just a few more seconds.
Oh my gosh. This is something else.